Well, greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this Friday night, October the 4th. Can you believe it? We're in the fourth quarter of the year, the last quarter of the year. Um, Amazing, isn't it? Simply amazing. I want to say thank you. I know Friday night, a lot of times y'all getting out and doing your thing tonight. But if you can put in the chat where you are tuning in from, I would greatly, humbly appreciate it. And even if you're watching this later, if you can chat and just put in where you are tuning in from, it helps me with seeing where who's listening. Right, I see the numbers, but I don't always know where you're listening from, what part of the area of the country, the world that you're tuning in. And we really want to be open the conversation and be a blessing. I know we're building, and it's going to take a little time to do so, but it is what it is, and we look forward to it. Uh, I just wanted to tune in tonight, so I'm gonna give you guys a little chance. And if you're on here, go ahead and share. Let people know that we're on live. Um, I would greatly appreciate it. Yes, I greatly appreciate it. Um, we're just going to talk a little bit about a couple things about getting from the disappointment and hurt. How do we get through that? Or some of the ideas, just to put some things out there of my personal walk through it. And then also talk about next week. We have a special guest, Lori James, and hopefully some of her co-authors will be able to join. I'm going to see if one or two of the co-authors of the book that she has written, titled "Suddenly," and it's about women who have found themselves after being married a period of years, found themselves divorced, and their experiences and how they have and are getting living a new life of being single or unmarried. I'm finding new language around the separation and divorce, like unmarried. I don't know. That sounds a little divorce. It sounds so harsh. I guess because it's harsh. Divorce is a harsh experience, but it comes with a lot of tests and trials and emotional upheavals and baggage and experiences, and it is not always comfortable. But tonight, I want to say welcome to Marriage Gone Divorce. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Iris Inspires, or just plain old Iris. I want to thank you for tuning in tonight and taking the time out to hear what we have to say. And we hope that it will uplift your spirits, give you some insight, give you have an aha moment, real talk, real experience, and real hope. That's what we offer you here at Marriage Gone Divorce. Not just about in my latest book, The Day I Forgave God. It completes the trilogy of books that I've written in this series. It started off with You Again, Not This Time, and then The Day I Forgave God. And what I have learned uh, is that the journey is real. Well, I knew that anyway, but the journey is real, and many times it comes full circle. And the details, we are a people that's why reality TV is, I guess, so popular, and sensationalized news is so popular, because we are a people that enjoy voyeurism into others' lives. We enjoy the sensationalism of it. But Marriage Gone Divorce is about much more than that. In my book, as I was saying, The Day I Forgave God, I could give you all the salacious details, but to give you the salacious details without getting to the other side, or not with a pure intention, the intentions of being relatable, so that you see that what you may be going through is no different than you're not by yourself. You are not the only one to have that is walking, or that have walked this journey, as a woman, as a male, as a female, as a man. You're not the only person that has experienced this, and oftentimes we feel alone, we feel ashamed, and we feel embarrassed because our marriages didn't work, and we're in dead smack in the middle of a divorce. And if you have built a life around marriage, what I have found is that, you know, shucks, it can be just very, it's difficult when your life has been around. We've been taught that building family in the context of a marriage, um, with children and etc., is the epitome of family. And I'm not here to tell you that it is not true. However, what I think it's important that we talk about the other side of that. It doesn't, we don't always get the fairy tale. We don't always get, it doesn't always end the way we hoped. And even, or yeah, it doesn't always end. It doesn't always end until death do us part. Sometimes the death do us part is we're alive, we live, and the marriage dies. And the death of that marriage calls forth a process. You know, we have, it's ironic we talk about grief and loss. And I think it's not until recently that people have been able to open up. If you're joining us, by the way, don't forget to put in the chat where you're joining us from, and don't forget to um, put your comments and whatever it is that you hear. And even if you're if you're a divorcee, or if you're unmarried, as I started this off, if you're unmarried. But back to the grief, you know, it's not until I think recent years that we really heard the discussion and the talk around grief, the grief part of divorce. When I think about my parents when they divorced, and I look back at it now as a mature woman. I was a young adult when they divorced. I wasn't a child, but I was a young adult. And I think about the effect it had on us as a family. And I look at how my parents handled that divorce. It was traumatic. And they definitely went through a major grieving process. However, I think that when I look back at their journey, I can see that they masked it with not dealing with certain things, which is oftentimes how we end up in divorce in the first place. We don't deal with ourselves. And so, and we don't deal with our, we don't take the time to really develop who we are, why we're here, and our purpose in earth. And if we do, if we have not allowed ourselves to heal the inner child, heal the trauma, heal or get a clear understanding of what our expectations of marriage is, we go into a marriage with false expectation. And we put a lot of expectation on another human being to fulfill things in us that it's completely impossible for another human being to to fulfill. And if you haven't made the other part of this, I believe, is if you haven't made peace with your journey, you haven't made peace with the uncertainties, and you've only, you know, seen marriage as this is the ultimate goal, to get married. We, you know, we get married and become one, and then we build our family. We have our children, we have our dog, we have our white picket fence, or with our two-story home, or, you know, and our two-car garage. And this is what building a family life and being married is supposed to look like. And it doesn't always end that way, or you get that. Let me rephrase that. You get that, and then you still find that it's not enough. It's just not enough. If both parties, I remember telling my son, when two adults get together and they have not allowed themselves to heal their wounds, they haven't really defined for themselves what it is that they desire, and what it is and how it is they want to live their life, and they bring children into that. Now you bring children into adults, unhealthy behaviors, and you want your children now to live what you weren't able to live. And so then that's where that generational stuff comes in. We want them to do better than us, so we push them to do better, even when they may not be, uh, you know, what is that better? What is that better? All righty. Okay, so that's my intro. Is there anybody out there? Come on and just say hey to me, hey to me, hey, hey, hey. So, getting through the pain and disappointment, getting through the pain and disappointment. Um, Getting through the pain and disappointment. Let's see. Let me make sure I'm in the right things to see your comments, because I'm not seeing. I hear you guys saying you're putting the comments in the chat, but I don't see them. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a delayed response. But I am not. Make sure that you're in the YouTube and not the Patreon. Make sure you're in YouTube and not Patreon in the chat, because I am not seeing the comments for some reason or another. Let's see. Let me do it that way and see if it comes up now. Do you see my chat? My comment in the chat? Can you see my comment in the chat? Let me know. Let me know if you can see my comments in the chat. Before I go a little further, let me know. Let me know. No, you cannot see my comments in the chat. Interesting. I don't know what that is. I don't know how to fix that. That's interesting. Live, it says live viewer comments show up. Okay. This is an example. Click. Okay. Huh. Well, I tell you what, I don't know why it's not showing up. Very interesting. So we're gonna keep going though. We're not gonna get too moved, distracted from it. We're gonna keep going, although we can't see it. So hi there, hi there. Go ahead and try again and put your name. Let me know where you're checking in from. So anyway, let's get back on track here. So what happens is when we are when you're going through the process of marriage, getting through the disappointment, the grief, is we oftentimes, because of the embarrassment of it, or because we've been taught, like we've talked about in previous broadcasts that we've had, what goes on in this house stays in this house. We don't really, or we have not been given the opportunity. We grieve in silence. We hurt in silence. We are not expressing and talking about the pain, the discomfort. As y'all know, I have a master's in counseling. And one of I remember I was at the height of my divorce, and I was in a class at the time, and it was a marriage class, and it was talking about the process, the stages of, how if you don't get to a certain point, which is a contempt, you have the possibility of restoring your marriage. But we also talked about the importance of being able to define what that looks like for yourself, and even defining what divorce or being unmarried, when you unmarry, when you unite with another human being. Let me ask you guys this. Let's see if you'll put it in the chat and see if it comes through. What do you feel, and do you think and or believe you can be unmarried from a person and still in unity? Can you unmarry and find unity with that in that relationship? The marriage was unhealthy, toxic, for whatever reasons you unmarried, divorced. But now that you are divorced, you've been able to find a space of unity. Do you think that's possible? Do you think that's possible? Can you put that in the chat for me? And then the person that is letting me know via cell phone whether it's going through or not, because I don't know why I can't see it. Let me know if your chats are going through. I still want to know if that's going through. I don't. I believe this. I believe depending on what happens and how far and how many, if you have not established the standards for your life and living, I think the beauty of finding that freedom in being divorced and being unmarried is you get an opportunity to discover your standards. Many times, depending on how you got married and when you got married in your life, um, you are not, it says not going through on YouTube. I don't know what that is. You are not, you haven't really established the standards, if you will. Some people call it boundaries. I like to say standards. I think standards give us an opportunity to create abundance versus boundaries create restriction, right? And then your standards allow you to choose from a different space. You're not choosing necessarily from a space of fear, withdrawal, and concern, but you're choosing from a space of abundance. And so I think what happens, what I'm finding in my journey is that it has allowed me the opportunity to really reflect on myself, reflect on my standards, reflect on where I have not chosen from a space of authenticity, from a space of purity, from a space of breath, from a space of being clear. You know, how do we choose from that space of clarity? How do we choose from that space of being clear? Is so important. I think the hurt, the pain, and the disappointment comes because we have not allowed ourselves to choose in the space of clarity. You know, when we are dependent on another human being, right, to fulfill and make us happy, when they don't, we are hurt and disappointed. But when we are able to remember that that human being is a human being and they have their own journey, and now I have chosen whether I want to be in journey with them, we come from a different space. Now, how do we do all that? How do we get to that space? Because the cold fact of the matter is, it's disappointing when things don't work out like we anticipate, especially if you come from a place of what? Manipulation. Most times, this is just me talking, I think that we're coming from a place of manipulation, meaning that we do this and hope to get that. I do this and I hope you give this back in return. And then we call it reciprocity, when in fact is we're doing something with the intent of receiving something, receiving love, receiving honor, receiving loyalty. I give you loyalty, so I expect you to give me loyalty back, right? So the 5 stages of divorce is just very similar to the 7 stages of grief. Denial, you know, when we got like, is this really happening? And if you're the one that filed for divorce, you know it's happening. But let me just tell you, even if you're the person that filed for divorce, it still is a period of denial of, I can't believe this is happening. Even though you may be the person that filed for divorce, is I can't believe this has happened. Then you have bargaining, an attempt to save the relationship in some shape, form, or fashion. That's where that question that I asked you, is it possible to be divorced, go through a divorce, be unmarried, and then reunite and have a united relationship with the person you divorced? Is that possible? Now, we know that if you had children, you have to have some kind of relationship, maybe or maybe not. Maybe or maybe not, depending on what the surrounding circumstances are. There used to be a time where I thought that you should be, especially if it's young children, you have to have some sort of a relationship. But the relationship may be monitored strictly by the courts and may be monitored strictly by a third party, especially if it's very volatile. The other parent might be a great parent, just not a good partner. May not be a good marriage partner. You may be able to come to an understanding and a unity with your children, but not with you guys. So you may be that you may have that situation. Not everybody does, and or it may not be that situation where even with the children is not healthy. So the adults are not healthy and the children are not healthy. You have to find that that space. So that, of course, you know, can be created in that bargaining stage where you're trying to find, you know, a even ground, and that can be very difficult at its best. Difficult at its best and very hard at its worst. The next is anger. Anger. Go ahead, you guys. If there's anyone on that can get through and put we're having some challenges in the chat, but if you can put in where you are listening into, I greatly appreciate it. Send me a message on the chat, and I can see if it's coming through. I greatly appreciate it. The next stage is anger, where you just pissed off. You're not happy about it. A common stage. It's when you feel the betrayal, especially as you start. If you start off with a divorce, and you come to an understanding, this is what we're going to do, and then you start going through the process. It's something that happens. I don't know if it's people getting, well, yeah, I do know people getting in your ears, the lawyers, what, all that. If friends, family, loved ones start saying, having their little comments, and you get downright angry. And especially if you feel you deserve something, right? As by way of the divorce, that it is, the other party is being unwilling to work with you, unmanageable. Or if you're dealing with, we've talked about narcissists, or we're just talking about people, it don't have to be a narcissist. It can be a person who just has bad behavior, unhealthy behavior, selfish behavior. And you're just unable to come, you're angry. You're angry that you have spent and wasted your time. You feel wasted your time with this person in the situation. So how do you get through that? I have found it's just embracing the uncomfortableness of it. It is uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good, especially when you start looking and reflecting on situations that you compromised yourself, where you feel like you have compromised your desires, your wants, where you didn't do things you wanted to do. You didn't say things you wanted to say. You closed your mouth and didn't say certain things. You get angry because you feel like you did all of that only to get to where you didn't want to get, and that's divorce. And if you feel like the person is being a butt, or they're acting like you're the one that created all the problems, when you and that person know that it was more than that, you're angry about it. You're angry about the money that's lost. You're angry about the property that's lost. You're angry about the situation. You're just angry. You're not happy about it. You're angry about how it could be very well how the relationship is with the children. Be they young children or young adults. Everybody takes a hit. Everybody goes through a process in divorce, and it's painful. It's nothing comfortable about it. It doesn't feel good. Don't nobody get married to get divorced, and it don't feel good. You feel betrayed. And if it's infidelity involved, be it infidelity, emotional infidelity. A lot of times we look at infidelity as just someone going outside of the marriage and having sex with somebody. But let me just tell you, emotional infidelity is just as harsh, if not harsher, than physical infidelity. Because as you know, folks can have physical contact and not have emotional connection. But when when a person allows themselves to emotionally get involved with someone else, that's infidelity, emotional infidelity, financial infidelity, where money is being taken from the home to go outside of the home. So you have all those kinds of infidelity that creates anger, because you feel like you're stupid. You feel like you saw things and you ignored it, or you believed them and they did it again and again. They say one time, okay, forgive, two times, all right, three times, shame on me. All right. So you have to look at that as well. Then after the anger, you have what's called depression, right? Where you feel you kind of go through that very sad stage. And how do you get through that? How do you get through the anger, the depression of it all? This is what I can tell you. There's no easy way around it. There's no easy way around getting. The only thing I know to do is to embrace it. The only thing I know to do is to own your part, clean your part of the street. And what I mean by that is look at where you were inauthentic. Look at where perhaps maybe you, ignored signals and signs. Look at perhaps, those, even the little things, because we're taught not to trust ourselves. We're taught that we can't trust ourselves. We're taught that that we don't know. The only person that knows is God, and that is true. However, if God is living on the inside of us, which God is, when we're filled with the Holy Spirit and when we're filled with insight, and in the eyes. We're able to see, and we're not allowing ourselves to be blinded. We're walking with our eyes wide shut. I talk about that in my first book. You again, we're walking around with our eyes wide shut. So we are feeling and seeing, but we're refusing to see. Um, we'll go blindly seeing into situations, but that we know is not healthy. I did it. I knew, I cannot lie. I knew on the front end of, I saw things. I knew some things. Now, I didn't think perhaps it was bad as it was, um, in terms of when I got married, but I did see some things and knew some things. And there was absolutely no reason for me to move forward like I moved forward in how I got married. But I did. And the reason I did, it had nothing to do with whether I loved him or not. Because from where I stood, I did. It had nothing to do with any of that, but it had everything to do with I had still, despite the work I had done, there was a part of me that still had not embraced the totality and authenticity of Iris. And so because of that, I went full speed ahead, um, into a situation that I knew, into a marriage that I knew was not going to, I saw things that was questionable. And I walked in with my eyes wide shut. And so we have to forgive ourselves for that stuff. And that's the uncomfortable stuff. That's how we get through the pain. That's how we get through the betrayal. Every situation is different. I'm talking from the space of, when there's things, when you deal with yourself, we deserve to be loved. We deserve to be treated well. We deserve to be lavished with gifts and taken on dates and adored and etc. We deserve all of that. However, when that becomes the main emotional drawing cord, right, and we're not paying attention to character, and we're not paying attention to integrity, and we're not paying attention to addictions, and we're not paying attention to family lineage, how they treat their parents, if they've been married before, how they treat the former wife, the children, if they have children, how they treat their children. If we're not paying attention to that and we're just going full speed ahead based on the emotional stuff that we're getting, it's called love bombing, and not because we don't deserve it, but because that feels good. It's refreshing, especially if you ain't had it. It's very now uncomfortable in a divorce or after the divorce to deal with the pain of feeling like what you saw and what was given to you was a fake. It's very difficult. Very difficult. I sure wish I could see the chat. I don't know why I can't see it. Anybody can put anything in the chat? No, yeah. It's difficult. It is difficult, but it can be done. As long as what I have learned is, as long as you continue to look at in the outside direction, and you look at the other person, and not you will never have your power back. Okay, you will never regain your power. We regain our power and our strength and our courage to live and to be our best self when we take our eyes off of the other person and we look at ourselves. We look at, what is it that I desire? What are my non-negotiables? Where have I been inauthentic in my life? I haven't showed up in the fullness of who I am. And is it because I'm still afraid of all of me? Right? And so we hide out sometimes behind the idea of marriage, the idea of family in a marriage, and that the other person is going to bring to us the missing pieces. It's two halves coming to make a whole, and I disagree with that. I believe you have to come into a relationship as a whole. Two wholes come together, and then you have a one. 1 plus 1 equals 2. Divided by 1, divided by 2 equals 1. I know I just made that up. No. Excuse me. At any rate, but you have to come in as a whole, and you have to tell the truth about what it is you like, what it is you don't like, what it is you desire. and you got to speak on it. You can't wait till things get so big. You can't just keep sweeping stuff under the carpet until you have such a mountain hole underneath it that you're unable to clean it unless you have a steam cleaner come in. Okay, I just made that up too, but it's the truth. It's the truth. All righty, so we have it. So we have to deal with. We talked about the acceptance of it, the dealing with the pain of it, the anger, the depression, the sadness of it. Sometimes you go through depression. It's just like when you lose. The difference in losing a loved one that is no longer here is that this loved one is still here. And I often used to say to my former husband, love is not like a faucet. You don't turn it, because he would say things to me periodically. You don't love me anymore. I'm like, love is not a faucet that you turn on and off. This was way before the divorce happened. Love is, you don't turn love on and off. Love is, it just is. All right. And I don't fall for I don't go for the in love, not in love, the I love you, but I'm not that, all that. Love just is what love is, period. Now, because I love you doesn't mean I have to be in a relationship, a marriage with you, because your behavior is not in alignment. I get to choose whether your behavior and how you choose to live life is in alignment with me. That's that growing and maturing and adulting. And that's not comfortable. It's not comfortable. Who wants to deal with that all the time? Who wants to deal? That's why we don't. That's why we do stuff to sedate ourselves. So we don't have to deal with it, because it feels good to not have to deal with it. To live in the mystery and the fantasy of, if you're on and you have my cell number, you can send me your questions on my cell since it's not coming through. If you have my cell number, send me the question on my cell and I can answer it that way based on anything that I've said so far. Since the text, let me put send questions to my cell number. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna put this up there, and if you're one of the ones that's on that, there we go. If you're on and you have my cell number, that means you know me. I'm not gonna put my number out there. I don't. Oh, perfect. I don't have any questions for you, Queen, but I wanted you to know. Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So just keep in mind. Thank you for that. Let's see. Someone's writing, sending me a question. So just know that where you are in your journey right now, where you are in your process right now, you're in the right place at the right time to receive exactly what you needed. Feel the pain, get through the pain, and then release the pain. As long as you ignore the pain and you use outside things, right? Alcohol, overeating, just spending too much money, not taking care of yourself, doing things that are just causing you to veg out and not think, you will have to revisit that, because you're still not dealing with the pain. Deal with the discomfort so you can get to the other side. Deal with the discomfort so you can get to the other side. What is the other side? The other side is your freedom. The other side is your voice. Sometimes we lose our voice, our ability to really speak. That was one of the things that I realized I lost. I've been a talker. I've been an inspired. That's why my people gave me the name Inspires. And so what I recognize is that when you lose your voice, the ability to speak and to share and come from a place of realness, of what you feel, and not allow anybody to minimize what you feel, what you don't like, why you don't like it, and say it in a way that's not blaming, but how can we, why this is not working, what can we do so that it can work? And if we can't come to an agreement on that because you are you and I am me, then that's fine too. Don't mean don't love you, but it does mean relationship. This is not the relationship for us. It's so much more healthier, and it eradicates. You take your power back. You get your voice back. All right. All right. That's how you get your voice back. You're in an opportune time, a perfect time, a freedom time to explore what you have smothered or what you have quenched, because there I don't like, me personally, I don't like to use the compromise word. I don't think relationships are about compromise. I think it's about enhancing, and I think it's about we both bring what we bring to the table, and we enhance each other. There may be times when I have to give way or make adjustments. There are seasons in relationship where one person needs more than what you may need emotionally at the time, and then it flips, and it goes. It's like a dance. You go back and forth, and so we have to learn each other so that we can dance with each other emotionally, so that we can dance with each other physically, so that we know how to dance with each other in our communication. It's a dance versus a compromise, and so when we get in sync with one another, right, that energy is different. It's different because it's a dance. All righty. All righty. All righty. All righty. I hope that you got something out of tonight. I really do. Remember that you are in a space now, getting through the pain and getting through the disappointment and taking your power back. It's all about removing your vision, removing your what you're looking at from what the other person did do or did not do. It does not minimize or indicate that what another person did was wrong. It doesn't say what they did was wrong. That's not what that's saying. Remember that. Looking at your side of the street doesn't mean your side of the street doesn't minimize that what you have experienced that was not healthy, that was even abusive. It doesn't mean that didn't happen. So it doesn't mean what happened didn't happen. Okay? But it does mean that you get to take your power back. All right? Looking at your side of the street doesn't mean what happened did not happen. That's not what that means. But it gives you the opportunity to really reacquaint yourself with yourself. And what you're going to find is that anger starts to dissipate, that you see that, look, I gave you what I gave you from my heart, and it was because I wanted to. And if you chose to misuse, to take it for granted, that's on you, boo. I know who I am, right? When you start moving into that realm, you begin to see the healing take place. The anger dissipates. Yeah, the anger dissipates. You go even beyond the acceptance part of it. It ain't about acceptance. It's about that is not even in my energy field anymore. It is what it is. And now I am clear on who I am. And this is the other thing. You're getting to that place of healing and complete restoration when you can hear the other person's name, or they come in your space, or they happen to be in your space, or whatever happens, and it does not affect your mood. All right? It doesn't affect your mood. That's when you know that you are in a place of healing. When you can hear the name, you can even share about the situation, and it doesn't affect your mood. You don't get angry about it. You don't get teary-eyed about it. I think that's the difference in the grief of when a parent, a child, or a loved one actually leaves this life versus the grief process in a divorce or in a relationship that has closed, that no longer exists. The difference is that it doesn't affect you. It doesn't have that same emotional pull on you, right? Because you have allowed yourself, you've taken your power back. you have allowed yourself to grow, glow, and heal, and you start to take care, do the things that you want to do. All righty? All right. Again, I pray you got something out of the night. I've enjoyed sharing with you guys. I wasn't intended to stay on this long. Next week, we have Lori James. She's going to be with us again, Lori James. Next Thursday night, please share. She's going to be talking from a book she's a part of, an anthology called Surrender. And I'm going to reach out to her to see if some of the other ladies can come as well. The book Surrender. No, it's not. Suddenly. I don't know where. Maybe I need to do so. Suddenly. The book is called Suddenly. And it is on Amazon.com. But we will be talking about that next week, next Thursday. So make sure that you join us. I am so sorry that if you were putting anything in the chat and I was not able to see it. I don't know why that's happening, but we'll see what's going on with it next week. Join us on our Patreon. You can also put your questions in there and we'll answer. That's Patreon at Iris Inspires. Patreon is at Iris Inspires. Let me put that. I don't even know if you guys can even see mine. Oh, wait. When I put it on the screen, Patreon at Iris Inspires. Iris Inspires. You will be able to see that. It's www.patreon at Iris Inspires. Iris Inspires, and you can put your questions in there if you weren't able to post it in here. Again, thank you for joining us tonight. Have a marvelous weekend, and remember, you are worth the time. You are worth your freedom. You are valuable, nothing missing, nothing broke. You're in the right time of your life to do and get and be exactly what you would call the planet Earth to be. All right, sending you good vibes, love, and energy, and see you next time. Thank you for joining us. Peace.